So good afternoon and welcome to today's webinar, Assessing the Use and Implementation of the Love Your Brain program for brain injury survivors and caregivers. Thank you for joining us. And my name is Rachel Ishak, and I'm a community outreach specialist with the Brain Injury Alliance of New Jersey. The Alliance is a nonprofit organization with a mission to support education, awareness, prevention, strategies, advocacy, and support for people who have been impacted by brain injury. We have a couple of announcements this morning. First, I just want to announce that we have a tab on our website where you can view all of our upcoming webinars and register for them. Our next webinar is on December 7th, and it's going to discuss TBI and ABI representation in television and film. So we hope you'll join us for that. And you can use the link I'll place in the chat to find those webinars. And then I'd like to also turn it over to Sophie Wilkinson, our research associate, to discuss our next announcement for us.
So you may have seen these in newsletters or via anyone you work with at BIANJ, but we're currently conducting a needs assessment and we need more participants to fill out our survey or participate in the focus groups we're conducting. So if everyone in here who is a survivor of traumatic brain injury or caregiver of an individual with a traumatic brain injury wants to take a minute to look at these resources or scan the QR code on the screen and take the survey either right now or after this webinar, that would be great. That would really help for our research. You could also, at the bottom, you can see my contact information. So if you have any questions or would like to take the survey over the phone or on paper, we can mail it to you. And you can contact me on my email or my phone number that's at the very bottom right there. So we'll kind of give it a minute for everyone to look at these resources.
Great. Thanks, Sophie. So now just a couple of housekeeping notes before we begin the presentation. All of the attendees' microphones have been muted. So if you have any questions throughout the presentation today, please use the Q&A feature and you can type them into the Q&A box, and at the end we'll get to as many questions as we can. The webinar is being recorded, so if you want to view it afterwards, we will be sending it out in a follow-up email and it will be on the BIANJ website. At the end of the webinar, you will receive a link in the chat for a post-webinar survey. We really value your feedback, so you're encouraged to complete the survey. And if you're looking for a certificate of attendance, you have to complete that survey in order to receive it. So once you complete the survey, you will automatically receive that certificate via email. So now I'm going to introduce today's presenter, Christina Lagsons. Christina currently works at the Hackensack Meridian JFK Johnson Rehabilitation Institute Center for Brain Injuries, which includes inpatient rehab, specialized subacute, and the outpatient cognitive program. Christina graduated from Thomas Jefferson University with a doctorate of physical therapy in 2011 and became board certified neurological clinical specialist in 2018. Christina had a lead role in starting the clinical affiliate program offered by Love Your Brain at JFK's Center for Brain Injuries and continues to oversee the program across all three settings. Christina is a teaching assistant at Rutgers University for the physical therapy students, where she facilitates and leads lab assignments for neurological physical therapy class and provides the guest lecture on brain injury. She's a clinical instructor for physical therapy students and a mentor of the neurologic residency program offered at HMH JFK JRI. So with that, I welcome Christina.
Thank you so much. Hi, everybody. It's nice to see you all. I'm just making sure that my screen is proper. Rachel, let me know if there are any issues going forward. Again, it's nice. Thank you all for having me. Thank you, Rachel, for facilitating the in-service. I am Christina. It's nice to see you all and meet you all via Zoom today. So again, our objectives today of this webinar is just to review quickly yoga and the benefits and some research out there specific to the brain injury population, introduce the Love Your Brain Foundation and programs offered, I'm going to discuss how we implemented the program in our setting and at JFK Johnson Rehabilitation Institute, and to read the benefits of the clinical affiliate program that we have seen among staff and our clients as well. I'm just going to change my view so that I can see my screen better. Okay. So just to be very clear about any potential biases, I am an employee again at JFK. I am not an employee of Love Your Brain. I am just someone who took Love Your Brain program, learned about the program, and brought it to JFK. So if you have any other further questions after we're done, I can of course link anybody with information to a Love Your Brain representative named Jackie. So I think a lot of people by now are really familiar with what yoga is. Yoga is a holistic modality. It involves physical movement. It also involves meditation practices and breathing practices. It's not just, downward facing dog, which I think a lot of people at first kind of picture in their heads when I introduce potentially participating in Love Your Brain yoga at JFK. It does help improve the mind, body, spirit connection. It helps improve mental control and overall well-being. So when I ask people if they want to do Love Your Brain, usually people are envisioning these two pictures here in the middle, this person in downward dog and balancing, and they're thinking, I cannot be doing yoga. You must be crazy. So it's always kind of like an entertaining conversation to see if I can get them to at least buy in to try Love Your Brain yoga, or any yoga for that matter. And I really try to emphasize that yoga is adaptable. So it can be done all laying down. It can be done sitting in a regular chair or a wheelchair or any kind of chair. It can be done standing and holding on to something for balance. It really can be molded to what the physical abilities of that person is and what those individual goals are. So I like this picture because it kind of captures the versatility of what yoga can be. Again, yoga can include physical movement. Yoga practice involves a lot of ethics. It involves a lot of breathing exercises, meditation, and just overall complete well-being. To be a yoga practitioner is to really take that and translate that into your everyday life as well. Whenever we feel a little stressed, maybe going back to the breathing principles or something like that. It is adaptable. It can be performed virtually. It can be performed in person. You can do it in your living room, in your bed, laying down, in a wheelchair, in the hospital bed, and it can be offered individually, one-on-one, or in a group setting. So we're going to go into those different options throughout this webinar as well. I'm just going to start with some general evidence, as yoga has really gained a lot of traction in public and popularity. There has been a lot of more growing evidence for yoga for all different types of people. There is a lot of research about traumatic brain injury, acquired brain injury, and stroke. First, I'd like to talk about the Department of Veteran Affairs. They actually recognize yoga as an evidence-based complementary health approach for the treatment of TBI and PTSD. They do recommend a supportive, experienced yoga teacher that is specific to experience working with people with PTSD and TBI, a quiet, comfortable environment, and the VA does recommend either in person or online. And their research at the VA has shown that people with a history of brain injury who practice yoga report feeling better strength, balance, flexibility, and attentional control. There is a Journal of Yoga Therapy that actually conducted a study with 10 individuals with severe TBI, so not mild, but severe. They participated in yoga over about a 9-month period. And those survivors who participated in the yoga class showed significantly improved respiratory function, self-reported physical and physiological well-being compared to the survivors who did not participate in the yoga group. There was a systematic review conducted, yoga and mindfulness as therapeutic interventions for stroke rehab, and they found improvements in mood, cognition, reduction in stress for people after a stroke who participated in yoga, and significant improvements in balance, mobility, and self-reported occupational performance in adults with chronic brain injury. So as you can see, we're already getting to the point that there's a lot of different benefits of yoga and reasons why we might recommend someone to participate in some kind of yoga class. There is evidence of enhanced self-esteem. There are a lot of studies through Love Your Brain. Actually, these slides come from Love Your Brain that are very nice and visual and beautiful. There's a lot of research that actually shows the brain changes that some of us might be familiar with, that there is been shown to be augmented memory by changing the brain structures associated with memory, including the hippocampus. Improved attentional skills by increasing the thickness of that prefrontal cortex associated with focus and decision making. Reduced mental fatigue by supporting better information processing. Love Your Brain specifically has been shown to enhance community integration. There has been evidence to show that yoga can reduce stress by helping actually shrinking the amygdala, which is of course our fear and anxiety response center. Don't like that center. It's been shown to boost strength, balance, endurance, and flexibility. As a physical therapist, I'm of course partial to the balance, endurance, flexibility, and strength pieces, but I can't not attribute a lot of the progress that I see in a lot of our clients for all the other reasons, not just the physical component. So what is Love Your Brain Yoga? So Love Your Brain Yoga is a foundation. It's a nonprofit organization. It improves the quality of life of people affected by brain injury and raises awareness about the importance of brain health. It was started by Kevin Pierce and his family after yoga helped his recovery. He has a wonderful story that's really captures his injury and his full recovery. It's on HBO. It's called The Crash Reel. If anybody is interested, it goes into a lot more detail. But the summary is that Kevin Pierce was an Olympic snowboarder. He was training for the Olympics in 2009, and he was doing the half pipe, and he unfortunately had an accident and suffered a traumatic brain injury. And he had to learn how to, walk, talk. His vision was impaired, and he had a severe TBI. And he did go through the full recovery, and he was having a lot of hard time. About 2 years after his TBI, he really wanted to go back to snowboarding, and it really wasn't recommended that he returns to what he loved to do. He had a lot of anxiety with that, a lot of depression, just mood deficits with that, and yoga ended up really helping him work through the coping and understanding and the progress that he needed. He's, now living a full life. He's married, he's got kids. But because yoga helped him so much, he started Love Your Brain Yoga in, I think, 2014. And it's been really growing and getting a lot of traction since then to help people with brain injury. Oops. So their mission, again, is to support people specifically affected by brain injury to build community, foster resilience, and advance science to support yoga. So this whole foundation was built specifically for for traumatic brain injury, acquired brain injury, people who have suffered a concussion, and also their caregivers. The program has evolved. Recently, they're starting to expand to also offering the program for people with Parkinson's or MS, but really their true purpose is to support brain injury survivors and their caregivers and support groups. The fostering resilience piece is something that has been really crucial in helping myself and also other therapists to find the language to help support our clients and our patients, because everyone talks about recovery, and I want to recover and I want to go back to being who I was before my injury. And although that is very important, and we are all about that goal, we share that goal, and we're right there with our clients and our survivors that we work with, we also want to include the conversation about building resilience, which means that you have gone through something, you are now changed forever. You now have the opportunity to learn about things that make you stronger. You learn things about yourself that you maybe thought you couldn't do. You learn things about your family members or your friends. It brings you awareness, and with that build some resilience in tackling our everyday challenges slowly to then get to our bigger goals. So that's a really nice piece of the conversation education that they provide. So again, I started the clinical affiliate partnership at HMH JFK JRI. The clinical affiliate program includes an annual licensing fee to cover costs of program development and implementation. You have to appoint a Love Your Brain yoga champion as a primary contact. So if anybody does have any questions regarding our program, you can contact me. And of course, you can have my email after this presentation if you do have any questions. There should be at least 2 staff members who have gone to the training. So Love Your Brain offers 20-hour training. I took the training in 2019. I took it because I practiced yoga on my own, and I would have some times in my doing my traditional physical therapy treatments that I really wanted to implement yoga pieces, but I was having a hard time really figuring out a way to do that effectively. And when I heard about Love Your Brain, I took their 20-hour training. At that time, it was in person. It was before COVID in 2019. I took it in Boston. And I was just so impressed with what the program had to offer that I was like, I have to bring this to our program. So I came back. I actually got together with 2 of our occupational therapists, Caroline and Christine, in our outpatient cognitive program. I wrote up a proposal. We submitted it. Luckily, our director and the above administration all was very supportive of the program. And so we did get the approval. And we started Love Your Brain program in 2020, about February of 2020. And we all know about, that was about the time that for us, March was when the COVID pandemic hit. So it's a really interesting timing. And I'll go into that a little bit about the challenges that entailed. But we are still going strong. It's been 3 years. And it's been going so well that we actually helped our staff got together with HMH, Ocean, and Riverview hospitals. And so they just started their Love Your Brain program this year, which we're really excited about. And I can give you some more information about their programs as well if you're interested. So how is Love Your Brain Yoga centered? So they do a lot of education about how to adapt the yoga practices, again, to make it adaptable. We adapt poses based on everyone's physical capabilities. So if someone has any dizziness or headaches, we adapt to prevent those symptoms. If somebody has any physical deficits where they're having a hard time moving their hand, or they have pain, or their leg, we can adapt the poses also to help include people who have those kind of things that they need to overcome. All of the instructions are simple, slow, and repeated to minimize cognitive fatigue. We offer similar movements and similar sequence from one class to the other to help with learning and memory. Overstimulation is something that we have to think about in the brain injury population. So it's very soft lighting. There is either no music or very quiet music with very little words or no words. We offer strategies to focus attention and manage negative thoughts. And there is a wonderful, empowering group discussion with different themes to help build community and resilience at the end of each yoga class. So what is really important to note is that Love Your Brain offers these yoga classes for free. Some programs might ask for a donation, but they are meant to be free research-backed programs. Love Your Brain also does research specific to their program, which I'll share some studies shortly. They offer the program either in person or virtually. And in person, that can be either offered in a yoga studio as a clinical affiliate, as a Love Your Brain partner, or it can be offered through a rehab hospital as a clinical affiliate program. So it is a 6-week program, and it's offered either in a yoga studio in New Jersey. There is a yoga studio called ALUM Yoga in Cranford that does offer it. Or if you can also look into the clinical affiliate program in a rehab hospital that offers a 6-week program. The clinical affiliate as a rehab hospital, we can also offer Love Your Brain friendly classes, which are adapted from the 6-week specific program. So we can kind of tailor it and tweak it and maybe do one here or there, or just do 2, depending on the needs of our clients in the rehab setting. Clinical affiliate programs in New Jersey are Hackensack Meridian JFK, Ocean Medical Center, and Riverview Medical Center. So again, JFK is in Edison, Ocean Medical Center is located in Brick, New Jersey, and Riverview is located in Red Bank. Encompass Health also does offer Love Your Brain yoga, and they're located in Tin Falls. If an in-person Love Your Brain yoga program is just not something that somebody's interested in or feasible, maybe transportation, or again, people still have a lot of anxiety about COVID, or maybe there's a flare-up or something like that, there is now an online mindset program that's also 6 weeks that offers the online yoga and meditation program. And that was really developed during COVID because, as we all know, it can be isolating surviving a brain injury. And then COVID was really isolating for all of us. So Love Your Brain really pushed to find a way to offer it online, being mindful of the sensitivities of screen time and all that stuff. And they've done a really great job of that as well. So the 6-session series, in person or online, offers 4 components, and that's over a 60 or 90-minute session. So it offers breathing exercises, and the breathing exercises are meant to enhance nervous system regulation and attentional control. Some gentle yoga, again, either sitting or standing or laying down, depending on what's going on with that class, to help improve functional mobility. Guided meditation to enhance attentional control, mood, and nervous system regulation. And group psychoeducation to build community connection, skills, and resilience. And when we ask, we're ongoingly asking our clients when we do our classes, what they liked from the classes, what they didn't like, so we can always tailor it and modify based on their needs. And everyone always says the group psychoeducation is their favorite, to be able to socialize and share stories. We always say nobody understands what you're going through besides other survivors. Even us working as a physical therapist for 13 years in the brain injury continuum, I don't understand what it's really like to ask for a nurse or have to really overcome the physical and the cognitive and the behavior pieces of survival. And it's really empowering to talk to other people and share stories in whatever way people feel comfortable. And so the psychoeducation piece has been really helpful for a lot of our clients. So who can participate in these sessions? People really should be able to follow instructions and be able to regulate intense emotions. If you want to attend the 6-session series, then of course you should be able to want to participate in the group discussion piece at the end. And you have to be able to really commit to those 6 meetups to have the full session series. Again, each one has different themes, different meditations, along with some of the similarities to help, again, with the consistency linking each class. There is a mobility difference requirement in a yoga studio as a partner versus a clinical affiliate program. A yoga studio really does require that someone is able to ambulate or walk without assistance and does not require a wheelchair. The clinical affiliate rehab hospital program really depends on each program. I know last time I reached out to Encompass Health, they welcomed all abilities. For our outpatient program, we offer from requiring moderate assistance and wheelchair to independent. In our rehab settings, we have a wheelchair group. We offer it in hospital beds individually with our Love Your Brain friendly classes. You can be completely requiring dependent assistance. You can be walking around independently. We can really tailor it based on the needs, which is very special about our rehab setting. And we'll try to kind of group people together, which have similarities to obviously help with the ability to connect with each other. So if you are interested, always call up to that program, what they offer, and just inquire to make sure that the fit is proper for you, or if you are a brain injury survivor, or for your clients if you're finding out some more information for them. Again, November is Caregiver Awareness Month, I believe, so we cannot forget about our caregivers, and Love Your Brain does not either. Love Your Brain does offer online caregiver retreats, which are also the 6-week series that have foundational skills for caregiving. There is a cost for caregivers, but Love Your Brain does offer partial and full scholarships. There is also an in-person community retreat for brain injury survivors and also for their caregivers and support persons. They do offer that in Maine and Colorado, so you do have to travel. There is no cost to participate, but you do have to cover the cost of traveling. And again, there is a scholarship program that can be potentially offered to people for the traveling expenses. So that's also really nice. I have a person that I work with recently who did Love Your Brain in our inpatient setting, and now is in the outpatient setting, and just recently came back from the Colorado retreat and had only positive things to say. So again, really lovely thing that they offer if you are interested in. So Love Your Brain, again, does a lot of evidence to demonstrate that their program is evidence-based and supported. So there's quite a few studies, and they are all available on their website, but I'm just going to give you a few for time's sake. There's a retrospective study on the accessibility, feasibility, and effectiveness of Love Your Brain yoga for people with TBI and caregivers, and the program was found to have significant improvements in resilience, cognition, and positive affect, qualitative results in better ability to regulate anger, anxiety, stress, and impulsivity, and caregivers perceived improvements in physical and psychological health as well. I was talking to Rachel when we were just waiting for the webinar to get started. And again, just to reinforce is that we offer this in our acute rehab setting. People, for those familiar with the Rancho levels, we offer it to people Rancho 3, 4, 5, 6, and on. And we have found individual Love Your Brain friendly classes and principles that either can be in the start of our session or be the session based on what the client needs, to be really helpful in kind of them getting some grounding, some sense of what's going on, and really has helped a lot with their recovery process. So that regulating anger, anxiety, stress, and impulsivity is something that as an inpatient physical therapist, I see actually quite a lot. Okay, and now there's evidence about the online mindset program. So again, when they rolled this out, they also did research to demonstrate that was effective. So there's a study called Love Your Brain Mindset, Feasibility, Accessibility, Acceptability, Usability, and Effectiveness of an Online Yoga, Mindfulness, and Psychoeducation Intervention for people with TBI. And they found significant improvements in quality of life, resilience, emotional and behavioral dysregulation, cognition, and positive affect and well-being. And people who attended the mindfulness program rated 9.1 out of 10. So even though it is online and you aren't in person with people, again, people who have taken it have found it to be wonderful, and they do recommend it for other survivors. So this study showed that the online mindfulness program is feasible, acceptable, usable, and may improve outcomes among people with TBI. I love this picture. This is a picture that we took of some staff and some participants in our extended recovery unit, which is our specialized subacute program. We're not actually in the class. We kind of just did a quick picture to kind of demonstrate some things that we do. What I really love about this picture is that the two people who volunteered are guys, and oftentimes when I have male clients, their female daughters or partners or family members will be surprised that they wanted to do yoga because they would never have expressed yoga interest prior to their injury, and their feedback of how wonderful the program is and how helpful is always surprising to their family members. So that's just something I want to note about this picture. And also, this picture really does highlight both these gentlemen. You can see have visible things that they're trying, challenges that they're overcoming. One person has a shoulder brace. Other person has an ankle and AFO. So again, just demonstrating that it can be moldable and tailored to any physical, cognitive abilities, disabilities, and has been really shown to be really helpful. And they also really liked it a lot. So I love this picture. So a little bit more information about our program at the Center for Brain Injuries. So therapists have integrated Love Your Brain evidence-based yoga into rehab. Again, we do offer in all 3 settings in our brain trauma unit with BTU, which is our acute rehab, our specialized subacute, which is ERU or extended recovery unit, and our outpatient cognitive rehab program. We do accommodate all levels of physical ability, and we do offer either individually as part of a treatment session, or we do group therapy. If we do individually, we might just, again, do it as part of the therapy to kind of help someone get a little center so that they can focus on traditional therapy. And if we are doing group therapy, then of course we do build group therapy for that. I run the program and oversee it, but since starting the program, we do have a lot of other clinicians who therapists who have been interested and have gotten trained themselves. So I mentor them, and then they run the classes in all 3 settings. And it's been really great. It is offered to people, even though we, of course, those of us who really enjoy Love Your Brain yoga, everyone can potentially benefit from it, but we don't just offer it to everybody. We really try to find the people who we think would really benefit from it the most, to utilize our assets and time effectively. So we do really offer and target people who demonstrate anxiety, any coping difficulties, a lot of pain, difficulty with coordination, and difficulty attending to tasks, and to help build connection with other people if we really feel like they really need some peer-to-peer support. We do provide ongoing education and introduction to the program to staff, clients, and families, and caregivers via conversations and handouts. So we do in-services to educate staff so that they know if they're working with a client, are they appropriate for Love Your Brain or not? Should we add them to the Love Your Brain yoga group when it comes around again? So they have knowledge about it, or if they want to utilize it in their sessions, if they're not Love Your Brain certified, we do have laminated copies of some very friendly, like I have a seated yoga flow that we made for them, a supine in bed yoga flow, so they can just follow it along. We do have laminated copies of the meditations and breathing, so they can just take that into their sessions as needed. And we do have information about billing, because of course, as therapists in a rehab hospital, billing is a very important piece of it. So how do you bill for it? How do you incorporate it? Which I can answer more questions if anybody does have any questions about that at the end. So again, yoga is tailored to the individual's physical, cognitive, and emotional goals. I know I'm repeating this, but it's just so important to understand. And it can be done sitting, standing, supine. It can be a 10-minute session. It can be a 90-minute session. All depends on what the needs are of the person, the survivor, the client, what your abilities are to provide for them based on the schedule that is going on in that day. There are some challenges about feasibility of offering it in all of our settings. So for our outpatient rehab setting, it is, again, run individually or in group. It is run quarterly in our outpatient cognitive program by our OTs, Caroline and Christina. It is offered specifically for chair and mat, and we have been offering it for people who are currently within the program. And this year we opened it up to alumni who have gone through the program, maybe they're discharged, but to offer it for them to come back if they are interested in. We have difficulties of space. Our rehab hospital is not built it was built for rehab. It wasn't built to accommodate quiet yoga spaces. So finding the space for that and really finding a space that works, it has been a challenge. And then of course, coordinating with therapist schedules, making sure that intake is scheduling and allocating a time for the group session, making sure therapists have time in their schedule and are not overwhelmed with all their other duties as an employee at the Center for Brain Injuries. Our goal is to really open it up to community, but because we've had some issues with our space, that's really been our biggest hiccup. For us also, of course, the COVID pandemic and having all the rules changing with isolation has been a challenge. Hopefully we're now able to be more prepared and have that not be such a big issue for us. In the inpatient setting, again, we also do offer it in group and individually. We have those laminated copies. We do offer it again for the people individually. If they are restless or a little agitated, we could just try and see if it helps. If it doesn't, that's okay. But it's worth a shot. And again, we have found a lot of success with that. We do offer it again in hospital beds, wheelchairs, or on the mat for all levels. Our needs for our group are again space. We do have to coordinate with renting space and utilizing gym space. Our staff, seeing how wonderful the program has been, are all so flexible, and we're so grateful because sometimes parts of the gym might be blocked off and they can't utilize certain equipment. We make the time of the group at a time that works with all of those other factors taken into account. We do need staffing. So if someone wants to come but needs a lot of assistance, then we do need a student, an aide, or a therapist to physically help them, because the person running the class is running the class and may not be able to do that and assist a person to maintain safety of the group. And coordinating with nursing. Do they need their medicine? Do they have any tests coming up? Are there other therapies? This is additional. So priority first goes to whether they got their speech, OT, PT, recreation therapies. So making sure all of that is taken into consideration as well. Okay, so the COVID-19 pandemic. So again, it got rolled out early 2020, and then the pandemic hit. It was really frustrating, of course, because we couldn't really roll it out the way we wanted to. But the positive lining is that there was a significant positive impact noted with Love Your Brain use during COVID restrictions to reduce social isolation and improve staff wellness. So we were able to coordinate with roommates who were isolated together in a room and figure out how we could do a little yoga for them and get them to interact a little bit. We did offer virtual Zoom Love Your Brain yoga classes. We had our facility purchase iPads to help with social isolation. And we did offer Zoom classes in our inpatient setting to people to help bridge the isolation. I ran some Love Your Brain yoga classes for our staff to help with stress and anxiety that we were all feeling during the pandemic. And outpatient couldn't implement it as quickly as they wanted, but once they were able to come back to in-person, they actually started offering it outside, weather permitting, and got a little bit creative with space and making sure everyone was 6 feet apart in order to maintain safety but still offer the program. So staff, we did a recent study. We're increasing a lot of our integrative therapies at our Center for Brain Injuries, and we did a survey, and 80% of our staff reported significant benefits of yoga for their patients. And that included, we surveyed PTs, OTs, speech, recreation, and social work. We did not, unfortunately, survey nursing, and we plan on circling back to nursing as well. They have found the most significant with the attention, coping, and awareness pieces. So people who are clients who attended Love Your Brain yoga were then able to carry over their attention, their breathing to other therapies, whether it's physical, to work through pain. Speech therapists talk a lot about that they're able to really kind of focus and sit down at the table tasks that they're offering. And staff love the laminated copies that we use. So we do recommend that as a tool that you could use if you want to implement the program. Staff also report overall improvements in their own mood and satisfaction. So we do these in-services for staff to educate them, but then also give them a little bit of Love Your Brain yoga during lunch as we are able to. And we do have these groups. So sometimes therapists, if they have time, might actually volunteer to be the helper. So you can kind of come in and go kind of get into this vibe, low stim setting and relaxation, and listen to the meditation that we provide. So it's a nice little addition as well. The goals of a clinical affiliate program that we offer and other clinical affiliate programs out there is really to provide tools to staff, clients, and caregivers to assist in recovery, build resilience, and support early post-injury. We want to just provide any tools to help people overcome, to go through a significant event like a traumatic brain injury, acquired concussion. It's life-changing, and it can be a lot to process, and any tools that we can provide and figuring out, teaching other staff, how do I talk about that? A lot of younger staff don't know how to really approach that. It's not something that we get in our schooling, sometimes in different programs. So again, utilizing tools and language to help support our clients is of our utmost importance to help their recovery and to reach their goals. So we might introduce them to Love Your Brain, or they might have a meditation app that's not Love Your Brain. It doesn't have to be Love Your Brain. Any kind of meditation apps that they used before, we'll make sure that we educate them on tools that they can use after discharge in the community whenever they're having an anxious time, or they're feeling they're getting a little, their mood kind of escalating, or whatever it might be. Maybe they just need a little meditation app and support groups. Maybe they really are interested in Love Your Brain, and we can give them information about it. It's whatever tools that we can help them to take with them in between sessions, not just during our sessions. And really to assist in sustaining that community connection and healing through Love Your Brain, or again, any other platform. Love Your Brain does offer a lot of interaction with other survivors again, but there are other platforms out there as well. So whatever the person needs is, our goal is to help facilitate and help them get those connections made. Some patient quotes that we've had: my body feels lighter, I feel happier, are you kidding me? I'm relaxed, less achy, I have less pain in my feet, this is better than exercising, I came in stressed, now I'm relaxed, my shoulder ache is gone, it's amazing, you gave me strength to keep going. I just asked a patient yesterday, hey, I'm doing this in service, you got anything you want me to share? The breathing help, she said, she shared the breathing helps me a lot. I have pain, I would kind of shut down, and now with Love Your Brain yoga, even though I'm done with the class, I still remember to breathe and work through it in physical therapy, and I feel like that's really been helping me. Or when I get frustrated when I'm waiting for the nurses or somebody else to come in and they're late or something like that, I now have the tools to help me. And I was like, that's what it's all about. I'm so happy that that it was helpful for you, and even more so that you remember those tools and you're able to use them ongoingly. These pictures are from the BIANJ 5K run, walk, roll for brain injury awareness in 2022 last year at Bradley Beach. Our staff always like to go to this walk that BIANJ offers. It's a beautiful space. Love Bradley Beach and the walk. So we did a little warm up. That is myself with the green sleeves, my windbreaker underneath because it was cold, and my coworker at the time, Emily. We did it standing. We offered it standing and seated. We saw some more patients who came and participated. This year, obviously, it was a little rainy, so that impacted it, but also, unfortunately, the schedule just didn't work out. But if BINJ ever wants us to come back at a walk or any other setting, we'd be happy to do that. So some yoga resources. There is Dr. Kristen Neff's Self-Compassion that offers a lot of great courses and tools that you can use, user-friendly. Warriors at Ease is through the VA. They offer a lot of virtual yoga sessions. They offer for all abilities. Just kind of skip through and find something that works for you or for your client. Love Your Brain Yoga, of course, is out there, has a lot of great stuff on their website, and they have a meditation library where you can just click on some free meditations. I clicked on them last night. I couldn't fall asleep. Went to the meditation library and Love Your Brain. I listened to a meditation to kind of get me back, help me kind of de-stim and relax and get ready for bed. So they are out there, and they're just all great resources for you to look at if you're interested in. My coworkers or my friends over at Riverview wanted me to share this PDF about their classes coming up. They are offering free yoga classes for community members. You do not have to be a patient of the rehab. They could be from the community, just any kind of TBI survivor. And they're offering their session series on Mondays from 11:30 to 1. And here are the dates that you can see in January and February. So if you want any information about the classes that they offer, I can circle back to this PDF if you are interested in. We have some references here, of course, for you. Thank you so much. If we had time, I would, of course, love to kind of do a quick 10-minute meditation, seated flow, just to kind of introduce and help everyone experience it. But we can come back to that another time if you're ever interested.
You actually have a couple of minutes if you'd like to do that.
Okay. I'm wondering though, because I would like a 15-minute, 10 minute, so maybe it might be just a little bit too rushed. So maybe that's just something we can offer at a later time, or it's out there, but
Okay.
thank you all for joining.
Sure. Great. Thank you so much, Christina. A lot of interesting information that I learned today, so that's great. So I'm going to take a couple of questions that we got in the Q&A. If anybody has any other questions, feel free to put those in the Q&A as we're going along. Somebody asked really early on in the presentation if it was applicable to acquired brain injuries, which I think you later spoke about, but if you want to just elaborate any more on that, you can.
Yeah, it is absolutely for acquired brain injuries. If somebody had a brain tumor, a stroke, anoxia, you name it, it is appropriate for that person. Concussion, TBI. Love Your Brain language tends to stick with TBI only because when they first started, they really were targeting specifically people who had a TBI survivors. But of course, they have evolved and grown in their program and their awareness. So I do offer it to all types of brain injuries.
Great, thank you for clarifying that. We had a couple of people ask about if Love Your Brain is offered in other states, and if so, do you have any ideas of how they could go about finding where those are offered?
Yes, Love Your Brain is offered in other states. If you go to the website, the Love Your Brain website, you can actually find where they are located. You can find our information and other, I can't exactly remember where it is. I can find out for you, but you can find it on their website. And again, if anybody has any questions about Love Your Brain, let's say you go to the website and you can't find it, you can either email me, or if you wanted, Rachel, I could share Jackie from Love Your Brain, her email. So anybody could always email her too if anybody has any questions. But she's just Jackie@loveyourbrain.com.
Great, thank you. Then somebody asked if the outpatient program for alumni at JFK is adaptable for somebody who is blind.
Very good question. Yeah.
Okay. Great. Don't see any other questions in here, just some comments saying thank you. So wonderful job with that. Oh, another one came in here. We have, for the alumni of the rehab center, can insurance be used?
Insurance can be used, but again, it's free. So if someone does not have insurance, that is not a limitation for them to participate in the class. But if it would be through insurance, then that would be a billable thing. But I feel like that's not something that they have to worry about, because again, it's a free class.
Okay, great. We actually have somebody ask if you could talk about how people could get certified for this.
So again, you can go on Love Your Brain on the website. They do offer different trainings. They offer trainings, which I did not talk about. So that's a really good question. They offer trainings for clinicians. When I went to the training, there were, again, PTs, OTs, speech therapists, recreation therapists. There were doctors, there were social workers. So like any medical professional can go to the training. They also do offer the training for non-medical professionals. They do offer training for survivors and caregivers and family support people. Each program is just tailored a little bit differently for who is participating. So I do recommend, we had some therapists who went to the non-therapist training because it was available first, and it was fine, but they kind of regretted, they wish they went to the one for specific for clinicians. They do offer the class virtually now. It's not in person. It's about 20 hours. It's a 3-day class.
Okay, awesome. A follow-up on that is, do you have to be a certified yoga teacher, or could it be anybody?
It's a very good question. I also did mention that you do not have to be a yoga teacher to go to the certification, but in order to run the program as a clinical affiliate program, you have to have somebody in the staff yoga certified.
Okay, great. Thank you for clarifying. Somebody asked if classes are available in Spanish.
That's a very good question. I am not aware of any classes that are available in Spanish offered in a group setting. It could be individually in our settings, but I'm sure Love Your Brain is an international program. So if it's specifically in the States, with an interpreter, anything is possible. The only issue that we've had with people who speak other languages in the group setting is that it's just like a delay, and the stimulation in our rehab setting, the communication piece, the barrier can sometimes impact the just general flow of the group, and sometimes not. Just depends on the group and who's there.
Okay, great. Thank you for answering that. I don't think I'm seeing any other questions. If somebody has another question, feel free to put that in the chat. We have a couple more minutes. In the meantime, you'll see that in the chat is our post-webinar evaluation link. Please click on that, fill out the evaluation. We really appreciate your feedback. It really helps us determine how we can do better in offering our webinars. So, all right. Well, I'm not seeing anything else come through. So, we will give you 5 minutes of your time back. So thanks again for everybody for coming, asking all these great questions. Thanks, Christina, for all of the great information that you've provided. We really appreciate it. Feel free, again, to click on that link in the chat and complete the survey. And we hope to see you at our next webinar. So this concludes today's webinar.